Welcome to this new part of our special series on depression. So far, we have heard about the Lady in Black from a Jungian perspective and reconstructed the whole of life through Wilber's framework. Now, a different question arises. What conflict might have triggered this process? Drawing on the biology of meaning and Dr. Hamer's approach, Farrow explores whether the depression was preceded by experiences charged with intense emotion. The goal is not to assign blame or deny biological factors, but to broaden our understanding of suffering. The first tool used is an expanded clinical interview. The Farrow professional carefully reconstructs the timeline. When did symptoms begin? What was happening in the person's life? Was there an emotional loss? A bereavement? A separation? A humiliating event? A deep sense of devaluation? The loss of a life project? Depression often emerges months or years after events that were never adequately processed. Therapeutic writing about the conflict. Once the potential conflict is identified, Farrow may use therapeutic writing. The individual writes about what happened, what they felt, what they were unable to say, what they still need, and what they truly lost. Often, the conflict begins to take shape and become manageable once it is put into words. Therapeutic narrative. Depression often constructs deeply painful internal narratives. I am worthless, I failed, it's too late, no one needs me. The Farrow professional helps the individual examine these narratives, not to impose optimism, but to distinguish between facts, interpretations, and learned beliefs. Addressing grief and loss. Underlying many cases of depression, we find unintegrated losses, whether of people, relationships, health, work, youth, dreams, projects, or identity. Farrow therapy supports the grieving process, allowing the individual to acknowledge both what has been lost and what still remains. Regulation of biological stress. If the body remains in a state of high alert for years, the suffering tends to become chronic. That is why Farrow incorporates therapeutic breathing, mindfulness, meditation, qigong, mindful movement, sleep hygiene, contact with nature, and habit regulation. This is where the bridge to traditional Chinese medicine and medical Taoism emerges. Emotional isolation. One of Hamer's major clinical findings is the significance of a conflict experienced in isolation. That is why Farrow seeks to break that isolation. Deep listening, community, therapeutic groups, family, support networks, the therapeutic relationship. All of these can become protective factors. The symptom as messenger. Jung asked, what is the shadow trying to say? Wilber asked, what dimension of life needs development? Chinese medicine would ask, what imbalance is being expressed? Hamer would ask, what conflict remains active? And Farrow integrates all these questions. Because understanding suffering from multiple perspectives allows for the design of more humane and comprehensive interventions. Every symptom deserves scientific study, but it also deserves to be heard with humanity. Understanding the story behind the suffering can open paths that a diagnosis alone never reveals. We do not always fall ill because the body fails. Sometimes we fall ill because life is asking us for a transformation we have not yet grasped. Farrow insight. Depression does not always vanish when we eliminate symptoms. Often, it begins to transform when we identify what still hurts and find healthy ways to process it. Farrow quote, that which cannot be expressed in words often ends up being expressed through suffering. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video. Leave a comment. Share this video to raise collective awareness. Explore other content on the YouTube channel. Study with ESSI. The Farrow Integral Method. Learn science with consciousness. Because in health, knowledge is not neutral. It is vital.